Good evening to you all, and thank you for joining us here on Rwanda Television News tonight. We do hope you had yourselves a productive Thursday. Now here's a sneak peek of our edition. President Paul Kagame emphasized that although there are still delays in implementing the Washington peace process, he remains optimistic that lasting peace is still achievable. The Ministry of Education has announced that the government of Rwanda will intensify efforts to identify and support children with disabilities, ensuring that all learners have equal access to education, receive quality inclusive learning, and are taught by well-trained teachers. Thank you for joining us here once again, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. My name is Martina Abera. Now, President Paul Kagame emphasized that although there are still delays in implementing the Washington peace process, he remains optimistic that lasting peace is still achievable. He reiterated this during a press conference held on Thursday. We have more.
Conference addressed several issues, with particular focus on the persistent security in the region. Referring to the agreement signed between Rwanda and the DRC in Washington 5 months ago, President Paul Kagame pointed out that the delays are on the side of the DRC government, despite expectations that the process would provide a sustainable solution to insecurity in the eastern part of that country.
They agree one thing in Washington or even in Doha, and that is made public. Then the next day or week, someone says, no, we are not going to do this and this until something else is done. And even when what they are referring to has also been under discussion. And whether in your mind you agreed or not, what has come out of you, if it's on record, you definitely have a problem explaining why you would agree one thing in the room, and then when you are out in speaking to the media or to whoever, you say a completely different thing, or even renege on what you actually said you are going to do.
The head of state also highlighted that the DRC government's tendency to evade its responsibilities, choosing instead to spend time calling for sanctions against Rwanda. He noted that such actions do not create room for a peaceful process or its intended direction.
They have refused to take responsibility. They just keep daydreaming and talking about all kinds of things, and whenever they've gone all places, the only thing they know how is to keep asking sanctions for Rwanda, sanctions for Rwanda. Okay, but if you sanction Rwanda, how does it solve your problem? How does it solve your mismanagement of your country affairs? How does it give citizenship rights to the people who have been complaining for decades and have had to take arms and fight you? How does it solve the problem of you having to import mercenaries to come and fight for you?
President Paul Kagame also responded to the question on the reopening of Goma International Airport.
But if anyone wants Goma, that's fine. For whatever reason, whether it is ritual or, some believe in witchcraft, they would want to go and pray in Goma and meet their witch doctors there and so on and so forth. Still, you know what? Goma it's not functional as of now, but it is in the hands of some people. You go and talk to them. But if I were the one, now let me be myself, let me tell you a story. If I were the one, you come and I'm the one controlling Goma, and you come to say, I want to use Goma. I say, fine. But these are conditions. Goma is part of my problems that I face with the government. And now it is in my hands. I will not give it to you until you show me, alongside that, how you address my problems. Well, I may sound speaking for these guys, but I'm just reasoning. If I were the one, you want Goma, you want Kavumu, or Bukavu, or you want the whole of Eastern Congo back, fine. I have no problem with that. It will only come with you addressing my problems.
President Kagame further stated that although Rwanda, the DRC, and their partners have spent years trying to resolve the crisis without success, there is now a hope that the solution is possible.
The fact that there is even a possibility of meeting in Washington and discussing or agreeing or signing anything is a good effort. For all the years before, we haven't had anything like that. We have had people come visit us, visit Rwanda and Congo, and rush to the UN and the Security Council and make decisions and make announcements and pass resolutions. That's why in the first years we spent a lot of time on that without really having anything tangible in place. I think this process or the two processes, one in Washington, another in Doha, but talking about Washington, it's a good step in the right direction. Whether we arrive at a decisive moment that gives us a clear possibility and optimism that we are near finding lasting peace and so on. Yeah, it's something we can still continue to hope for and work towards. But at least there is that possibility, there is that framework that is in place. And the Trump administration seems to have done their best. You know, some of these processes will not work, not just because we are meeting in Washington or the powerful United States is involved. Yes, they have a big role to play. It's what I was praising them for, having made a huge effort. But until those people concerned directly, they themselves want and commit to achieve the end result, which is stability, peace, and security for all that needed, even the most powerful will remain wondering which way to go, or frustrated, if you will. So the onus is on us, mainly the people, the leaders, DRC, Rwanda, and others in the region.
The head of state also reiterated on the issue of the FDLR, a genocidal militia group that has continued to be overlooked by the international community.
So FDLR why no one would take them seriously, knowing that their history, and worse still, knowing that they are associated with a government in DRC. And I mean, this is a public knowledge. Even the way you have heard of hate speech, you have heard of all kinds of things. If you want to know, you must be knowing. So still the issue becomes, how many would they be? How many? So it's like putting me to task. One, it is falsifying the issue of numbers. If we want to know about numbers, there are many. That's very fact. Then, but the essence of saying, how many are they? It's like to say you are exaggerating.
Regarding the role of the international community and some powerful countries, President Kagame underscored that their claims of protecting human rights and African values often end up being the very reasons fueling the crisis found in the region. Adams Kwizera, RwandaTV News.
Still on the matter, during a press briefing, President Paul Kagame underscored that genuine leadership is defined by a commitment to addressing the needs and challenges of citizens rather than pursuing personal gain.
There must be something wrong that has been happening.
The press briefing took place at a time when several African countries continue to grapple with political unrest and repeated military coups. President Kagame noted that holding on to wealth among leaders and excluding young people from leadership roles are some of the fundamental drivers of instability across the continent. He stressed that African nations must create greater space for young people to participate meaningfully in leadership and decision-making processes.
The young people you talked about, you call them Gen Z? Yes. Well, why did you go to Z before you went to again zero? I mean, the last resort, maybe. Is that what it means? I'm just guessing. Still there an expression that something is amiss. It may not even mean that they are always right. You see? But I would rather than, for those of us who are still around and don't want to be overthrown, we may need to find a way of making these young people responsible also, so that they feel they are part of, and therefore no need to overthrow. You see what I mean? Because there are so many, they can't all also be operating recklessly, collectively. Maybe some young, some hot heads among them can mobilize others, but still to move the whole mass to do something. So before they do that, it's our responsibility maybe to do something so that they have no need to do that.
Reflecting on leadership responsibilities and the qualities that make leaders effective, the president explained that while leadership knowledge gained in school is valuable, it becomes truly impactful only when aligned with the real needs and aspirations of the population.
You can study and have degrees bestowed upon you about leadership, and you can be an expert and be there actually teaching leadership, and everybody moves out of the room energized and feeling on top of the world. But the moment you step out of the door, the choice is yours. how you use that energy to fulfill the obligations that the theory was talking about. So it's not an easy thing. So you can therefore have this and match it on to what you asked about East Africa or whichever entity or institution. We have to keep trying, we have to keep challenging one another on the basis, at least, of this theory, and then tying it with the practice and say, but we are saying these right things in this institution, but the practice seems to be coming out differently. So you have to agree that's how issues of accountability come in, because people they understand the theory but have failed on the practice, and they are causing damage to those they did. And therefore, that's when you say, if you are found to be doing this and you run into this and you're causing suffering, then measures should be taken. By doing it intensively, I think you reduce on the damage that is caused by bad leadership.
The head of state also addressed the issue of service delivery in both the private and public sectors. He urged citizens to reject poor quality services and to report any failures so that those responsible can be held accountable when necessary.
Thing also touched on several other key issues, including strategies to boost the economy, infrastructure development, and more. President Paul Kagame was asked about the rising cost of living and the impact of inflation on household welfare. He explained that the country is implementing measures to stimulate economic growth by increasing exports and expanding domestic industrial production. Addressing concerns from local manufacturers who argue that while they are required to use environmentally friendly packaging, imported goods still arrive wrapped in plastics and other non-eco-friendly materials, placing them at a competitive disadvantage. The president stated that such disparities are unacceptable and must be resolved. Regarding families living in high-risk zones and poorly constructed infrastructure, such as roads without proper drainage systems, President Kagame emphasized that these issues must be addressed and corrected. On economic matters, the head of state also discussed the partnership between Rwanda and the English football club Arsenal under the Visit Rwanda Tourism Promotion Initiative. He confirmed that the sponsorship agreement will not be renewed after the current football season ends. He dismissed claims linking the decision to political reasons, noting that Rwanda continues to collaborate with several European clubs and recently launched new partnerships with teams in the United States. He added that the 8 years of partnership were sufficient and yielded tangible benefits.
Years is not a short period, I think we understand. We have Atletico Madrid, we have PSG. These are European countries. They are based in European countries. So that can't be the issue. But the issue is when maybe sometimes, while for me, and I will continue, it has nothing to do with the contract. I will continue being Arsenal fan, of course. I even go and watch in their stadium football when I have time and so on. But a partnership like that one we had been having for 8 years is a commercial partnership. A commercial partnership can be reviewed on different grounds. Either party may say, I'm not, because it has to be, it was being negotiated every year. It has to be negotiated every season. I mean, not every year. We agree, let's say we negotiate it like today. Maybe it goes 2 years or 3 years. Then you have another one, whatever period people have agreed. It could be renewal every year. It could be renewal every 2 years or 3. So the reason for renewal is to look at whether new conditions demand different things from either party. I say, no, from my experience for the last contract, we didn't get so much in this area, and we can't be paying for it so much. And the other side could say the same. Can we adjust it like that? So in fact, particularly this one, there was a negotiation that went on. There are adjustments to be made in the contract. And our people and theirs disagreed on a particular thing and said, no, we can't have this instead of this, or which you have been having, or which you were demanding to have. And reached a point where they said, okay, instead of disagreeing too much, you may find another partner who will satisfy you if you don't want to listen to our demands. There's nothing dramatic about it. But at the same time, by the way, if this partnership doesn't work, it means we have opportunity with this money, because it is commercial, we are paying, to open up for another partnership somewhere else. You've seen how we've been even going to, as far as the United States, we are having beautiful partnerships with NFL, with NBA, and more will come. Yes. By the time we realize, we are into many other partnerships.
The Ministry of Education has announced that the government of Rwanda will intensify efforts to identify and support children with disabilities, ensuring that all learners have equal access to education, receive quality inclusive learning, and are taught by well-trained teachers equipped to meet their specific needs. This commitment was emphasized during the opening of the second annual National Conference on Inclusive Education, which brought together key institutions and partners working within Rwanda's education sector. One of the participants, a student with a speech disability who communicates through sign language with the help of an interpreter, shared personal experiences and acknowledged the progress achieved so far. However, both the student and the teacher from the Inclusive Education Program pointed out ongoing challenges, particularly the limited availability and teaching of sign language in schools. Emmanuel Ndaisaba, the Executive Secretary of the National Council of Persons with Disabilities, called for the establishment of more public schools dedicated to learners with specific disabilities. He noted that private institutions are often costly and lack the capacity to accommodate all children who need specialized support. Minister of Education Joseph Nsengimana reaffirmed the government's objective of strengthening education for children with disabilities and enhancing training for teachers, with the goal of improving the overall quality and reach of inclusive education across the country. A study conducted by the National Council of Persons with Disabilities in June 2025 found that 145,362 persons with disabilities, representing 25.8%, are employed, largely because they attained some level of education. However, 317,360 individuals, or 54.4%, remain unemployed regardless of their educational background, while information on 99,462 individuals, 17.7%, remains insufficient or unrecorded. Economic experts reaffirmed that in the 31 years since Rwanda's liberation, the landscape of Kigali city has undergone a remarkable transformation, largely driven by substantial investment in high-rise construction. Business owners also note that as the city expands, it naturally attracts more residents and visitors, boosting demand for a wide range of goods and services. We have more.
The new story buildings rising across Kigali are reshaping the city's skyline and attracting increased movement of both Rwandans and foreigners, creating significant opportunities for the business community. The tallest structure in Kigali is the Kigali Financial and Business Square, featuring a 25-story tower alongside a 23-story sister building. It currently stands as the tallest development in the city. The project is expected to cost $100 million upon completion. On Thursday, government officials and various investors inaugurated the first phase of the development. Yu Zuokai, the deputy general manager of the Chinese construction firm CRJE, which is leading the project, explained that the first phase came with several challenges, and the second phase, anticipated to take about 12 months, will also involve significant demands.
And so many challenges of this project because this is a CBD area for Rwanda, and this is also very sensitive area of Rwanda government. It have high quality of control of environmental and safety. So also the deep foundation pit is also a biggest challenge for us. We faced some collapse of the foundation pit as mentioned in the ceremony, but now we overcome by the advanced technology. 50% will be much complicated than the structure because it's a big challenge for the coordination work with all the subcontractors and all the shareholders. So I think maybe within 1 year based on current program.
George Ndinga Tafon, a Cameroonian investor in construction who also works with Rwandan financial institutions, states that the strong reputation of Rwandan banks in different countries is among the factors that facilitate such investments.
Right? There are so many countries that the international banking system does not recognize their letter of credit. But in Rwanda, once the banks are respected, once you put out a letter of credit to get equipment outside, this goes smoothly. And this is the tool that most business people use to get things from outside, because you're not sure if the things are going to be delivered, you're not sure about the supplier, so you use the bank as the intermediary, that they issue the LC to the bank, to the suppliers, and the suppliers also have confidence, so this has also made Rwanda a very attractive destination.
Denis Carrera, a business expert and investor, reiterates that investment in buildings is currently one of the key drivers of Rwanda's economic development. When you look at the volume of trade and how business is expanding in cities, as well as the amount of money being spent, how people are buying goods and exchanging money, you can see that there are many commercial activities taking place. President Paul Kagame, while officially inaugurating one of Kigali's high-rise buildings, called on leaders across different sectors to continue facilitating investors interested in similar developments, noting that the country needs more modern structures of this kind.
Ndagira ngo rero bamenyeshe ko n'ubundi ni inshingano y'ubuyobozi bw'igihugu cyangwa
I want to emphasize that it is the responsibility of our country's leadership, as well as various public sectors, to provide support wherever possible, whether through laws or policies, that promote people's development. This includes supporting all activities that contribute to progress, including investment initiatives such as these. The 2025 annual report of the National Bank of Rwanda on the financial and economic sector indicates that construction remained the leading recipient of credit, with loans totaling 1,029 billion Rwandan francs, equivalent to 23.6% of all lending by financial institutions.
Economics experts say the time has come for Africa to find its own solutions to boost its economic growth by leveraging opportunities available in capital markets. This was emphasized on Thursday in Kigali during the 28th annual conference of African Securities Exchanges Leaders. The objective of this annual conference, known as the ASEA Annual Conference 2025, it is to bring together African efforts to seek solutions for economic recovery driven by the role of capital markets. Pierre Celestin Rwabukumba, the CEO of the Rwanda Stock Exchange and current chairperson of the African Securities Exchanges Association, explains that while Rwanda will gain what Rwanda will gain from this conference, as well as from the new initiatives launched today.
Well, for Rwanda's market, it's a good limelight exposure to know that Rwanda is developing a financial center. Rwanda is launching a few products we just launched now. We launched two. We are going to launch another one. No, three things we are going to launch today. So one is allowing people to buy and sell hard-denominated instruments. You can issue now in dollars, or you can buy instruments in dollars in future. So now it's allowable in our market. We just announced it today. Second, we are going to be launching our green exchange window tonight. And then we are going to be launching as ASEA, that's Pan-Africa, what we call the inaugural Pan-Africa ESG Awards. So those are many things we are launching together. That means we are speaking one voice, one language. However, there is one challenge, and it has come up. We have seen it from the different speakers. We are a big continent. We have potential across the board. But guess what? We have non-tariff barriers. We have so many countries, 54 of them, whereas our counterparts, similar countries like India or China, which have similar setup, for them they talk one language. Their economic bloc is one. So that means non-tariff barriers don't exist. So for them, they're able to trade and make more money than us, but Africa can rise if we work collectively together and we reduce all those non-tariff barriers and we aspire for the same things we're aspiring for as one big country. Continent, not as 54 countries.
Economic experts note that the African capital markets sector needs to expand its operations in order to significantly contribute to the continent's economic development, as is the case in other regions of the world. Economist and former deputy chairperson of the African Union Commission, Dr. Monique Nsanzabaganwa, says Africa's time has come to find homegrown solutions without depending on foreign aid as it used to.
Capital market is immense. It's mainly to raise long-term capital we need for our investment needs, be it in a country, be it regionally in our cross-border projects and initiatives, be it continentally. We need to capture some of these supply chains. We need to attract big companies looking for relocation after whatever is going on in the geopolitics, in the trade wars and what. So these investments need long-term capital, and that can be intermediated through capital markets. We were counting, or some research has counted up to $4 trillion we have in terms of, I would say, domestic resources sitting in our banks, in our central bank reserves, in our pension funds, in our insurance companies, and so on and so forth. But how to break through the fragmentation of all of these? How can we harness them in an integrated way through functional capital market that is integrated, that is grounded nationally, also working collaboratively in the region, in multi-currency and continentally? That's the role of the capital market.
Mulangwa says Rwanda will continue supporting the development of its capital market because it is one of the key avenues that will help the country achieve its goal of expanding domestic investment. Moving ahead, Rwandans who work in agriculture and livestock farming sector say it is important to protect animals to prevent diseases that may originate from humans and affect livestock, or those that may originate from animals and affect human health. And our Gladys has more.
Farmers, livestock keepers, and veterinarians who attended an awareness campaign organized by the French Embassy in Rwanda in collaboration with the Rwanda Farmers Organization in Baraga say that they learned a lot and are ready to put it into practice. If people are going to apply pesticides, there are things we did not fully understand before. But what we have gained from this meeting is that people should apply pesticides in crops while protecting themselves. We also learned that in livestock farming, if a cow is given medication because it has a certain disease, you must avoid drinking its milk if it is a dairy cow, so that the medicine does not contaminate people. The president of the Rwanda Farmers Organization in Baraga, Jean-Paul Munyakazi, explained that this initiative was introduced to promote One Health approach, which includes human health, animal health, and environmental conservation. Dr. Leandre Shema, who represents the One Health program at the national level in the Rwanda Biomedical Center, highlighted the progress that Rwanda has made in fighting these diseases. The head of cooperation of the French Embassy in Rwanda, Aurélien Piquenot, explained that this activity aims to strengthen cooperation and good relations between France and Rwanda, as well as promote knowledge sharing in the agriculture sector. During this awareness campaign, it was highlighted that in the past year, 2024, Rwanda managed to respond effectively to 2 epidemics originating from animals, Mpox and Marburg.
The World Vision humanitarian organization that works to address the root causes of poverty and injustice, focusing on children, families, and communities in over 90 countries, has officially launched its 5-year strategic plan running from 2026 to 2030. This plan involves various partners, including the government of Rwanda. Among its key targets is to reduce child malnutrition, currently estimated at around 30% to below 15%. The children targeted by this plan number approximately 2.5 million and come from impoverished households. These children are aged from birth up to 5 years. World Vision has allocated a budget of 257 billion Rwandan francs for this 5-year period, supported by the government and other partners. The plan emphasizes intensifying efforts to combat malnutrition among young children under 5 years, aiming to reduce the rate to 15%. Other components of World Vision Rwanda's strategic plan include protecting children from severe burns and gender-based violence, as well as increasing lessons that teach about God's love. Jean-Claude Ingabire, Acting Director of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation at the Ministry of Local Government, praised the organization's contribution to the welfare of children and Rwandans in general. Among the achievements World Vision is proud of during the 2021-2025 funding period, implemented in partnership with the government, which contributed 40% of the budget, are lifting more than 160,000 families out of poverty, providing clean drinking water to over 1.7 million people, and offering literacy education to over 1 million children through clubs that also teach English. On the evening of this Thursday, Rwandans, foreigners, and their friends joined the British residents and workers in Rwanda to celebrate the birthday of His Majesty King Charles III of the United Kingdom. The event was marked by joy, music, unique fashion, and served as an opportunity to strengthen friendships. Alison Thorpe, British High Commissioner to Rwanda, welcomed various guests into her home, where the birthday of King Charles III, who turned 77 on November 14th, was celebrated. These celebrations also provided an opportunity to reinforce the relationship between Rwanda and the United Kingdom, a partnership based on cooperation, mutual respect, and collaboration across various sectors.
Proud of what we have achieved over many years alongside the government and other partners to strengthen education and to lift over 1 million people out of poverty through our partnership on social protection. Looking forward, we are building a modern partnership focused on innovation and growth. Two great examples of this. First is ACES, the African Centre of Excellence for Sustainable Cooling and Cold Chain, hence why it's called ACES, because that's a long title for an organisation, which has developed groundbreaking innovations for food security and climate resilience. For me, it is a shining example of UK engineering and Rwandan innovation driving a prosperous green future. Secondly, the vibrant contributions between the National Institutes of Statistics and Rwanda Revenue Authority and their UK sister institutions, sharing best practice. Both are not typical donor relationships. For me, they exemplify the spirit of partnership, innovation, and long-term commitment that will define our relationship. Secondly, on my list of three is trade and investment. This year, I'm delighted that we launched the British Chamber of Commerce in Rwanda. This is a major milestone, letting businesses to connect and thrive. Last year, British companies invested over £230 million in Rwanda in sectors like energy, mobility, and technology, a testament to Rwanda's vision for sustainable growth.
His Majesty King Charles III of the United Kingdom ascended the throne on September 8, 2022, following the passing of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. He is the King of the United Kingdom and the head of state of 14 other countries that are part of the Commonwealth. From a young age, he has been known for his love of art, the environment, and is also a skilled polo player who plays on horseback. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, who attended the celebrations, noted that the United Kingdom has been a long-standing partner of the government of Rwanda in various sectors.
I extend warm congratulations and best wishes to His Majesty the King, the government, and the people of the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is a long-standing and valued partner of Rwanda. Over the years, our collaboration has deepened across education, governance, peace building, trade and investment, climate resilience, innovation, and institutional capacity. Environmental protection and climate action have long been championed by His Majesty the King. Rwanda recognizes and values this leadership, particularly through global initiatives such as the Sustainable Markets Initiative, which aligns closely with our own environmental priorities. Our two countries share a firm commitment to sustainability, the circular economy, and biodiversity conservation. These are areas where continued cooperation is both essential and promising, and we look forward to expanding this cooperation in the years ahead. Our partnership also thrives through growing people-to-people exchanges, as you said, whether through education, professional cooperation, cultural ties, or tourism, which continue to bring our societies close together. The people of Rwanda hold warm memories of His Majesty's visit in 2022 during the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, where he held meaningful engagements with everyday Rwandans. I would like to highlight in particular the intimate interaction he held with residents at the Mbyo Reconciliation Village in Ntarama, where survivors and reformed perpetrators were given the opportunity to share with His Majesty their remarkable journey of resilience.
And on that note, we've come to the end of tonight's bulletin. On behalf of the news production team, we'd like to thank you for sticking with us here on RTV News. Until next time, stay safe and have a good night.